about time. It's about time that please share your thoughts with everyone. The speaker for today is a very talented person. I cannot do justice with the introduction in limited time that we have, and the time should be devoted more for presentation. And so I'm going to just encourage everyone to see the flyer about the credentials of this lady speaker today. All I can say is that an incomplete introduction would be that she is an author, she's a poetess, she is an artist, she is a singer, she has published books and CDs. She is a producer of a short documentary that she produced recently. This is to erase the stigma and raise awareness for mental illness. She's an ENT surgeon, an alum of Osmania Medical College back in India. I can go on and on, but I'm going to stop here as far as introduction is concerned, and I'd like to welcome, and please join me in welcoming Dr. EYYUNNI, and she is going to talk about journey of life, challenges we face. So Umaji, as I always address you, please come and make your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rudraji. And I mean, the topic and your introduction are way far above my capacities. However, I would like to mention one very interesting thing. Rudraji is the one who introduced me to the community here. It so happened that I met Dr. Heckers and he introduced me to Dr. Rudraji. And then from then onwards, our journey in Nashville started. Talking about, this is a very interesting subject, and I would like, please, this to be interactive, because I'm just a novice in life, and compared to most of you, we are very, very much, what should I say? I'm in infancy of learning. So talking about challenges, whoever said that the life is a straight line or it is a roller coaster, like, but when you go up, you don't think of coming down, but when you come down, you get so upset. But the fact of life, I've learned in my little life and experience is that unless you fall, you don't know how to get up. So I do believe very strongly in that each challenge that we face in different phases of life teaches us something to get more about ourselves and to face it. And if we start off very briefly, my real challenges started from the time I had to choose the residency. My mother was a little surprised and she said, "Do you have to go into surgery?" I mean, it's usually a man's field. It was then, most of the time it is now too. And when I wanted to become a surgeon and do ENT, the very interesting thing was that there were 9 residents. I was the only lady resident. That didn't bother because the subject was the one that I was very interested. But then the funny things that happened, I want to make it this very conversational. Funny thing happened that our hospital in Hyderabad was located opposite Taj Mahal Hotel. So we used to have a journal club and 9 of us were talking with the attendings and suddenly 8 of them disappeared. The club was done and nobody told me that they were going for coffee. And if they went, then later on I asked myself, even if they invited, would I dare go? I was not married then. My mother would kill me if she came to know about that. So these are the things I'm talking about in age group and era where we had a lot of restrictions from growing up in a regular educated but middle class families. And afterwards, I thought it would be very different. And that's in the college, I met my husband, who is a general surgeon. By the way, in the family, by now many of you know, I'm the talker, he's the doer. So he couldn't be here, he's doing something else. Whenever I say I, it involves both of us. It's we do everything together. And that's what has made us come this far in life. So being two surgical fields, when we finished the residencies, we ended up being posted in two different primary health centers and could not afford to start a major practice or self-practice by ourselves. So then what happened is, as the opportunities came, my husband decided to come to the United States in 1975. At that point of time, we didn't have so many problems with who sponsors and all that. So one of his friends sponsored and he came. He finished 2.5 years of general surgery. And then I was doing 2.5 years of ENT. And my very wise, educated mother said, you're going to a new country. One of you might as well have a place in India itself with a good qualification. So I had to stay back and complete my MSDLO. Then that has become very advantageous when I came and applied in the United States. Because I was already an MSDLO, they gave me a position in Montefiore Hospital. And they told me I would be called a fellow, but will be paid as a first-year resident because I did not have residency in this country, which was fine. So we ended up doing our surgical residencies, which was tough to get at one place. So Ram waited and I finished 2 years of general surgery. I had a child. Then he waited for me to finish 3 years of ENT. Then we have our daughter. So, and then when I went for the interview for the ENT at Thomas Jefferson in Philadelphia, Dr. Lowry, wonderful gentleman, asked me, why is there a gap in your curriculum? I said, I have 2 children. He said, Dr. EYYUNNI, why do you have a gap? You finished your MS in 6 years. I said, Dr. Lowry, I have 2 children. He said, so? I said, well, I tried to explain to him. And then anyway, we got along very, very well. After that, we moved to Martinsburg, West Virginia. And by God's grace, and by the way we were raised, I'm one of 7 children. I'm the 5th of 5 daughters, youngest. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning that, it has taught me to deal with and to be very friendly with everybody around. Like I said, I already gave a disclaimer, I'm a talker, but I will not take too much of your time anyway. So starting the practice in West Virginia, we realized it's 95% Caucasian population. We were less than 14 families, Indian families. So our children happened to be the only brown kids in school. However, because of the profession that people have to come to the physician, and I didn't have to work for anybody, we had a very good practice and never had any problem or any challenge. But the most interesting thing, whoever stopped at the window.
I can call you, and we are right in the middle of a Zoom session.
I think you're not muted.
Because I finished the Zoom session. Can I
They
call
would
this
wait,
number in
ask
another
my
30 minutes?
secretary, do I speak English?
I'll call you. Okay.
My secretary said she can even teach you English. Thank God I was educated in English medium. And then the next thing, very interesting and funny part was, I had a patient bring in a child and I examined and I explained the procedure, and then she wouldn't leave the room. I said, ma'am, anything else I can help? She said, when is the surgeon going to come and see? I said, what you see is what you got. I'm the surgeon. She said, really? But you're a lady. I said, well, I'm a trained lady. Anyway, so those are the very beautiful memories. And there was a situation wherein there was a lot of high school dropout rate. So a few of the physician wives and we started together what is called a PASS program, PASS. It was promoting academic and self-esteem in schools. So I had the opportunity to teach a third grader. And I will always remember her because some of the parents got very excited and started giving them Barbie dolls and encouraging them with homework. Whereas I used to get her books. She told me one day, you are boring because you bring books and my brain hurts. I said, kiddo, the brain is the only one that doesn't hurt really. So you might as well study. So from there, I was blessed enough to be part of American Association of University Women, wherein I learned a lot from the rest of the members who were all teachers. But being a physician, it's very interesting how many curbside questions you get, and you have to be careful about that. Anyway, so after that, at that point of time, my son went to a private Catholic school because the high schools were difficult about education and dropout. Then later on from there, he got very, very bright kid, above 140 IQ, had 3 scholarships, went to Virginia Tech. Then my daughter is 3 years younger. And they started, a year and a half later, started the difficult and the most challenging phase of our life. A year and a half later, after he joined, he dropped out and said there was a lot of disturbance in his brain. Both of us being in surgical fields and having very little or no exposure at all to mental health challenges, took us 4 to 6 years to understand what is going on and several more years to accept. At that point of time, I realized that this is all a design and I'm blessed with expression in a poetic form. And at that time, almost like 5-6 years later, in 2004, I published my first book. My first book in English is I Want My Son Back, A Mother's Cry. At that point of time, there was a book signing in Barnes & Noble. And this happened after we moved to St. Augustine, Florida. We moved there because over the internet, I went through several places and they all looked beautiful. And then we chose a private place in Florida. So because of difficulty, and then my daughter again, just then she graduated from high school, she chose to go to medical school. And God bless her, she has done a lot of it on her own. She was a salutatorian from the high school and then was accepted in a medical school. And she went to the DO school in California. Afterwards, she did George Washington University and Georgetown. And then she did her fellowship in pediatrics, emergency room at St. Christopher's in Philadelphia. So having this in this balance of both the positives and so-called, do we call them negatives, or learning steps with both the children. So we both have, I have given up my surgical career and moved to office practice only. And in the process, then it occurred to me, life is like a dance of life. And the other session we were talking about, Rudraji was talking about poetry. I think I can say that that has saved me. Around the age of 50 or so, I published several books during the 10 years. And then my husband was he ran about 30 to 40 half marathons. So we both realized that one faces the challenges with emotional expressions and the other with physical. So at that point of time, I felt, if I can share, the dance of life. The dewdrop dances on the lotus leaf in the golden ray of the sun for a moment brief. The beauty caught in the blink of an eye pulsates with life under the blue sky. The melodies echo through the universe like the music of the wind with no words. And your love showers for eternity with the compassion to bless the humanity. My maker, my heart beats to the rhythm of thy feet. My mind dreams of your friendship so sweet. Dance with me, O cosmic dancer, with all the grace, the dance of life forever. And because one fine morning, I realized that there is no I in this situation. This is all destined to be, and so will it be. So at that point of time, after looking at all these situations, when I was doing the book signing, the best blessing in our life has happened. Miss Patty, she's no more, however, 10 years senior to me, beelines and comes and meets with me and then says, I know exactly what you're talking about. She was the president of National Alliance of Mental Illness of St. John's County at that point of time. And lo and behold, for the last 18 years, I have been a member of National Alliance on Mental Illness. And that has helped me a lot. That is one of the things in Dr. Vasudev's introduction of the whole subject, the challenges we face and the place of the friends and support groups. And NAMI, along with the NAMI, I could participate in we started what is called St. John's County Health Consortium, where we had the district attorney's office, school board, and NAMI. And we had several of teachers, everybody participate. And interesting part in the administration I have learned is that mental illness is almost like an untouchable thing. It's not infectious. I don't know why people don't understand that. So one of the richest counties did not have a support system. At that time, that gave me an opportunity to have one of our peers, whom we call, was graduate from communications and also media. So I did the script. I asked Garrick to do the video, and we took 3 peers and 3 parents, and we did what is called glaring realities and sent it to the governor and said, please, we need the financial support. I'm not saying that has helped 100%, but that was one of the reasons we did the first movie then. I can be interrupted. Anybody has a question? Because so anyway, the next part we did was at that time, I'm so glad we got what is called assertive community treatment program, which has helped, which would take 100 people and will help with a case manager, a psychiatrist. And so they would provide transportation, medication, everything like that. In the process, I need to mention, not necessarily by name, but one of the childhood friends of my husband, who in the very beginning of my son's illness came in and said, I know you don't want to do this now, but please apply. This is a lifelong process. Apply for disability, apply for Medicaid. So it was kind of like a blow. However, we did so, and that was very, very helpful. I'm going to, at every step of life, we survived and got through things because of great friendships and also being open. And after that, when I was almost, for about 20 years, we were in St. Augustine, did my practice. And then, well, somewhere along the line, when you don't speak out and your eyes don't cry, your heart takes the brunt. So ended up having coronary. Okay, but that was only part of life. So then what happened is at that point of time, we at 2010, I have thought a lot about it. In the meantime, we had an opportunity because my very close friends are all physicians because of the profession we are in. And it occurred to me one day, if with all these intellectual resources we have and reasonable financial resources we have, if we are hurting this much, how about the people who cannot ask questions, who do not know to ask questions and who do not get answers? So that is the reason I started the nonprofit organization Mother's Cry. Mother's Cry is mental health, reach out. And my teammate, our nonprofit organization has 2 physicians and 3 IT people, one of them who does music, electronic orchestration. For whatever I write, he puts music too. And then we have a psychologist who is a PhD. So every step of the way, it has been a teamwork. And I, as such, do not exist without a bunch of very good, kind-hearted people. And today, my teammate, these are all like the youngsters. We became like block parents there for the younger people. This is a completely educational and some amount of entertainment kind of a organization. Shankar, may I have you start the PowerPoint? And it's very brief. And this is our mission. And next one, please. This is the reason we started. And our main thing is mother's quest for child's best. And the next one. This is what the Mother's Cry stands for. This is an acronym we came up with. And mental well-being, outreach programs, therapeutic guidance, help and hope, empathy, not sympathy. Empathy is what we insist on. Resources and support, challenged, rehabilitation, and youth. But mainly the youth, because we know by experience and by statistics that this occurs between ages 16 and 24. Next, please. And November 14th, we all know from India, it's Children's Day, Jawaharlal Nehru's birthday. So next, please. And this is a known fact. This can be diagnosed reliably, but there's no cure, I'm told. Next one. It was predicted that depression will be the leading cause of disability worldwide. And we're seeing more and more of it. So next, please. Excuse me? Okay. So this is the most catching point, because unless it hits the wallet, I don't think many people understand. Next, please. This is what worries me, literally worries me. Why so many of our youth are affected by this so much. Next, please. So, very, very few come out and ask for help. And why is that? Why don't we ask for help? It's an illness like leukemia, lymphoma, cancer, or anything. But most of the people that are challenged, they look fine. They look like, I don't know, they don't ask for help because they don't know how to. And if you noticed here, this child is still like in a womb. So they are in their own cocoon. They're not coming out. Next, please. Next. This is the first poem of my book. And I don't have an answer. Next, please. I found this and it was really heartbreaking. Next, please. Yes, this is a burning question. Why do we have such a hard time getting resources? And this is one of the well-known, technologically advanced, rich countries. Why do we have a problem? Next, please. And we are looking for more and more day programs. Yes. So NAMI does a lot of educational things. Next, please. And there is no, I mean, each state is very, very different, very different. And this is very important. And NAMI has been incredibly helpful for people like us. Next, please. Next, Shankar. Yes. This is what we are blessed with. We have extended family and our family, incredible, unconditional support. That's why we are here where we are. Next, please. This is what we need. And NAMI provides family-to-family support. And NAMI in both states, where I was in Florida, and when we came to Nashville, I owe a lot to the NAMI here, especially the executive director, Robin Nobling. I spoke to her before we even moved here. And then we have so much of help. But the thing is, of course, the pandemic hit. So we're doing things only by Zoom. Next, please. Yes, this is the question. Provide empathy. Financial support, not, I mean, like to the organizations. And here is our major, major problem. Because most of us immigrants, not necessarily just Indians, because I had an opportunity to speak in a Jewish center. I also had several Hispanics and different ethnic groups. And the problem here is we all came as qualified adults, but our children are youth from a different culture and a different exposure. So we don't want to be told or judged by the rest of the community that, oh, you didn't do a right job. You know, Patty, God bless her, she told me, Uma, before 1960s, they used to call schizophrenic mothers My goodness, I never heard that before, and I'm glad I didn't. Next, please. That's all we require. We require is a helping hand. Next, Shankar. So the next one. This is what we have done so far in the last 12 years. I've done a short movie on autism called Mother's Journal. Could interview the parents and did a very short movie. And we have done this different. And I need to put another disclaimer. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. We have done all these seminars with the speaker being a psychiatrist and a psychologist. We only put these things together and did the programs. And like I said, I feel blessed because I could write, and then we have a group. We have a musical wing to this, a cultural wing, that is called Rasachari. Rasachari means the flow of rasas, emotions. This is a creative wing of Mother's Cry. Next, Shankar. This design is done by Mr. Shankar, who is doing the presentation for me. Part of the proceeds from the fundraiser were donated to the Hurricane Relief Fund and when Puerto Rico relief. And then it was donated every year to whatever little we had. And these are from, this is the Center for Autism in Gainesville, but there was a branch in Jacksonville. So in our educational thing, 30 to 40 children or youth participated. And I'm so pleased and grateful for life that the last time I was in Jacksonville, one of the youngsters came to pick me up from the airport. The other one, the three got together. And I told them this time they choose the place, they drive me there, I pay for their lunch. Next time I choose the place, they drive me there and they pay the lunch. Anyway, so I have a little something for all the friends in life that have helped us so far. And thank you. And this is what my contribution to my friends, all of them, the present company included. The smiles and tears of yesteryears taught me a lot to grow up fast. There was a time when the world was mine with no care or fear. All dreams were pretty and clear. The world is still mine, though life granted a little pain. It's still filled with love and care, just because we are all here still to share. And I thank all of you for giving me a lending ear. And I also learned the sands of time I wrote for Patty. The sands of time never stay still. From the cosmic artist's hand do they spill. Life is but a design of his quill for us to cherish with the dreams to fulfill. The journey sometimes is hard to predict, but accept it as the Creator's verdict. Keep moving forward towards your goal, making peace with your heart and soul. And we made peace with life. And the very first musical dance ballet we did was for Buddha, for peace. Then we have done Swami Vivekananda. When I took my son to India, happened to be in Ramakrishna Math, and learned a lot. And Vivekananda for courage. Then we did Mother Teresa for faith. And when I was writing Mother Teresa, I had an opportunity to read her quotations. And her quotations is, I know God does not give me anything that I cannot handle. And the hilarious next statement is, I wish he doesn't trust me that much. Thank you all very much. But what I have learned with the spiritual attitude is that Siddha Siddho Samo Bhutva Yogastha Samo Uchyate. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. Siddha asiddha samo bhutva. For the happenings and not happenings, if you can take them in a stride, that's all you reach for. That's what you aspire for. So thank you all very much. Anything you have a question, I'm here. Thank you, Shankar. But for my teammates, I couldn't do anything that we have done so far. I only get all these crazy ideas and write and delegate. I'm very good at delegate. And thanks you again.
Thank you, Umaji, for an outstanding presentation. I want to salute you for your advocacy role that you have played over the years. I think mentally ill are blessed to have a strong advocate like you. Thank you so much for what you have done. At this point, I'd like to welcome any questions or comments that people might have. I'd like to start out with a question. Umaji, as you look back at your journey, you have done a lot of things to cope with the pain, to help the family. What do you think, if you were to identify one thing that has helped most, what would it be?
The one thing is to believe that every life on this globe comes with a purpose. And I felt this is our purpose, and that's why I'm in a family that is extremely supportive. And when I admit very openly, took me 5 to 6 years. I cried and cried. Then one day it occurred to me, what good is it going to do if I just wallow in my own pain? So you share it. And the thing also, if one fine day, I don't mind admitting this, early morning around 3 o'clock, I was in my prayer room and said, look, buddy, I told my maker, you put this challenge in my lap. Either you take care of it or you help me take care of it. So tending towards, I'm not very ritualistic because I don't know, but my father always believed, and my parents always believed that, and that's how they raised us, that it is not your ownership of whatever happens, that doesn't make you bigger, small. You're here and you do your duty.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to welcome other comments or questions from the audience. It does not have mental illness, any challenge that you faced and succeeded in overcoming, please.
Umaji, this is Chiman Delwadia.
Namaste.
Yeah, it was very good from the bottom of the heart. I know I can say. One thing I'd like to just point out that I just finished one book. This is the top 10 in 2022 years. One is on mental health. I don't know whether you have seen or not, but Strangers to Ourselves. This is book's name. Strangers to Ourselves. It's unsettled minds and the stories that make us. This is from Rachel Aviv. I just finished that one, and there are stories about the mental issue, and there is one character from India too. So I don't go in detail, but I would like to get your comments about that, if you can read it, that one. And I see that the biggest problem I see in our communities, just to the hurdle, the first step, the state of denials, how to pass through the state of denials is the biggest hurdle. So I don't know what we can do about that.
Well, very honestly, for 35 years of my practice, on my table, there has been the serenity prayer. God gave me the courage to change the things I can, accept the things that I cannot. So we accept the things that, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm still waiting for the wisdom. I still feel like I can do things, but you accept what you cannot change. As simple as that. It is another thing that I noticed. Now, many people come and make a comment right away. Oh, you're so strong. I said, what did we do wrong? Brain is an organ and there is a neurotransmitter problem. So what can we do about it? Accepting help.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Oh.
Looks like nobody has faced any challenges. I have another question. Yes. Hey,
Hi.
George.
Oh,
This is
George.
George.
Yes.
Yes, I just want to commend you for a very inspiring account of what you have been through. Thank you very much for that. I think you are uniquely placed because you see it both from the patient standpoint, the family standpoint, and from a physician standpoint. So I think you are in a very special position to shed light on the problem from different angles.
George, I'm just a mom.
Yes, but
Just a
you
mom.
are placed in a unique position where you can view it from so many different angles. And what I commend you most is for giving voice to the problem. Like you said, there are lots of people who suffer, but just continue to suffer and do nothing about it. But you have given voice to the families going through this. You have given voice to the patients who might not themselves be able to voice their distress. And you've also very compassionately looked at it from the other side as well, from the physician standpoint and the treatment team standpoint. So I want to commend you for that. My question to you is, obviously, we want more of this to go on. What's your recommendation to families who are dealing with similar situations where they have other family members who are struggling with this, who may not have been able to give voice to their struggles?
But George, I do get quite a number of calls, frankly. What I would say, we need to be practical in the sense, apply for special needs trust and apply for disability so that they would have something, because this is a lifelong struggle. And no amount of, it's not much to do with the money, it's so much to do with the mental strength of the rest. And also, my heart goes out to the siblings. Sometimes the siblings cannot even express, but we do not have any major support systems like that. That's why I'm so grateful to Robin. I'm mentioning her, I hope she doesn't mind the name, but the executive director of NAMI here. And I also have an opportunity to, I could not even believe some of my own classmates who are doctors, who have kids of similar situation, wouldn't even know to look at the internet and then look for NAMI. I said, what have you been doing? We know English, we know how to look at Google. Can't you look for resources? But I also know that when you wallow in your own pain, you don't look outside. Ramoji?
Thank you, Maji. One more question. In our recent conversations, you had brought out or shed light on another challenge, which is care of these children after we are gone.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
huge challenge, and then I wish you would briefly touch on that.
Rudraji, I don't know where I start. I am, again, time and again, I feel blessed because you have introduced me to a couple of entrepreneurs. It is in the works that we are looking for a safe place. Not anymore, not treatment centers or anything, but there are several individuals who have a tremendous amount of empathy and also the willingness to support. I'm not yet at liberty to go into the detail. However, I feel so good about and hope we can avail those opportunities of having. Why don't we have more places that are for safe living for these individuals who are stable? And again, time and again, we have to be very aware, and nobody more than you would know about this, and George also, because being in the field, it's never a straight line. You never know when you can have the unpredictability of the situation that haunts us, the parents. However, if we have a little more empathy and say, you know, how many people, especially some of the Indian friends, I mean, not necessarily, some of the friends suggested, why don't you get them married? I said, is it fair to another human being? Is the question my kid asked. Proud of his culture. So what I'm trying to say is that we need more support system. We need homes that do not ostracize them as mentally ill. We do not want to label them, because many of them that I know have a decent way of dealing with themselves, just cannot work outside. That's where I've learned that the societal norms are really different from normal. Who is normal?
Thank you. And thanks, George, for sharing your thoughts. Any other questions or comments?
I have a question. Where do we go from here?
You are the
Putting you
leader.
on the spot.
You
No,
are
but
the-
I feel one thing. I just want to say something to the parents and other families also. Please, you know, one time one of the parents got very upset with me when I said, the pilot says, put your oxygen mask first. And then she said, what do you mean? I have to put, I said, ma'am, you need to be around to be able to take care of your kid, right? And also spend some time in any of these fine arts. Like I said, I feel blessed because I can write in 4 different languages. But I mean, you don't have to be a writer. You can sing. You don't have to be a musician to sing, or you can do an artwork. Some kind of, it's a divine outlet to be able to express yourself in one form or the other, or dance, do whatever. And outdoor sports is something that is extremely important. Otherwise, we dwell in our own pain, but we need to get out of that, and life happens. That's all. Nobody needs to be responsible for, there is no cause and effect phenomenon. That's what I've learned in this particular situation. And Chimanji, I just want to tell you one more book, is The Center Cannot Hold. I think the title, it's a memoir. It itself, it's by Ellen Sachs. The lady is from Miami. And The Center Cannot Hold. That itself defines the whole thing. I think that's what happens in most of the situations.
Well, we are running out of time, very close to. So let me thank you, Umaji, for a beautiful presentation, very inspirational. You have shared a lot of challenges in your journey, which has helped the audience, certainly has helped me. And I want to conclude this by sharing a couplet in Urdu that really talks about optimism. And this poet is or was a great poet. His name was Janisar Akhtar.
Mhm.
He is father of Javed Akhtar and father of Professor Salman Akhtar, who is also at Thomas Jefferson. He is a psychoanalyst. Anyway, the couplet is, समझ सके तो समझ जिंदगी की उलझन को, समझ सके तो समझ जिंदगी की उलझनों को, सवाल इतने नहीं जवाब जितने हैं. So he encourages everyone to think about the challenges, because there are more solutions than the questions or the problems, the challenges. So that is quite an optimistic note by Janisar Akhtar, and want to share that. Pramodji, are you there? If not, thanks everyone for participating.
I would like to say just one more thing.
Thanks.
उलझनों की गठरी तेरे रख दे मेरे पाँव पे.
Wow, wow.
That's what is the divine saying to
Absolutely.
us. And
Absolutely.
I would like to quickly thank the Sankar Krishnan, who is on my team, who has helped
Thank you.
me with the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, do we sign out?
Yeah.
Thank you all very much again.
Thank you.